Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, former Ottawa Senator Jason York, and Shawn Simpson.
Afternoon, everybody. Brent Wallace alongside York Chop, Jason York.
That we're going with now?
Well,
York Chop and smartest man in hockey. Those things couldn't be further apart as far as nicknames go. I got the glasses on though, so I'm trying to be
smartest man in hockey takes too long, so we're going to go with York Chop.
Yeah,
it's a success. People love it. We're going to get T-shirts made and everything.
How are you doing today?
I'm battling a head cold.
You got a head cold.
I've had it for like 2 weeks.
And you're going to battle through the show, Wally. Employee of the day.
I'm going to try anyway. Well, I'm excited for today's show. Kenzie Lalonde is going to join us shortly, and then Jamie Baker's going to hop on. Busy days we get through, which feels like a Friday for us because we try not to work on Fridays if we can. But that's because you're always touring the country, playing in some hockey tournament.
Yes,
you play more now than you did when you were a player.
I'm actually starting to feel better on the ice too, surprisingly, because 2 years ago I could barely skate. But yeah, I'm going to Kingston as soon as the show is over. I got to get in my vehicle, drive right to Kingston, and we got draft night in downtown Kingston. It's a great. I love doing this with this group. It's hockey helps the homeless, not hockey fights the homeless. Wally, hockey helps the homeless. They do a really good job. Emma Langlois sets it up in Kingston. Emma, whose dad Dave, guitarist from Tragically Hip. Last year, Dave got up with Gord St. Clair, and they actually did a couple of songs. So I'm hoping that happens again tonight because they did 2 acoustics last year. One of them was Wheat Kings, and it was amazing. Real live music in a small room where the guys just get the guitars out. There's nothing better.
That's the best.
Yeah,
2 guys with the guitar. I would love to be able to play that. I can't, as you know, Yorkie, I can only sing. I can't play.
Yes. Wait till.
Actually, that's not true.
Wait till we tell Kenzie and Bakes that Wally can act. You're gonna have to sing once they come on. You're a pretty good singer.
You know what you don't know is actually I was the lead drummer in a marching band.
What?
I can't. We got to get to Kenzie. We can't.
Hold on.
We're just gonna
before we bring Kenzie in, I gotta give my older brother Jeff a shout out because tonight he's getting awarded the Order of Ottawa.
Congrats.
By the Mayor Mark Sutcliffe. I got to miss it, unfortunately. So my better half, Laurel, will be in attendance with some other my family members. But no, it's great. As people know, Jeff's part owner of the Sens. He's part of that Ottawa contingent. And this is big news because I'm hoping to get them for sponsors. He's starting a great gym called Altea, which is opening up in a couple of weeks, Wally. It's going to be phenomenal. Pickleball. The
old Canadian Tire. On
Carling. But it's being transformed into it's going to be the best fitness facility. It's arguably in Canada. They're going to have pickleball, Pilates, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be amazing. I've joined. I'm going to go, but we'll
hope you got a friends and family discount.
Yeah. No, I listen. You can never put a price tag on one's health, Wally. You can't. I'm gonna drag you to Altea with me.
Congrats to Jeff. In fact, I've actually been invited by him as he's wants me to show up because you won't invite me. So can we anyway? Let's stop wasting Kenzie's time. She's covering the game tonight in Ottawa, so she's patiently going to put up with us for the next little bit here. Kenzie, welcome to the show. We're so happy you joined us as a repeat guest.
Yeah.
Kenzie. Yeah, baby. Repeat guest. Do you remember? I was still in Halifax. Spoke with Brent about being on the call in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So that was a first, and now full circle. Wow.
So
and another first.
Yeah, like it's been, I know the last 48 hours, if not longer, have been a little bit of a busy time for you. Will you just explain what you've gone through?
The last 48 hours, yeah. Prior to that, we were doing the rivalry series, Team Canada and the United States. It's a 5-game series used as an evaluation tool to get ready for the upcoming World Championship. So the week leading into that game, I was in San Jose, California for a game. And then we went to Salt Lake City, Utah, which was pretty cool. The rink where the O2 Olympic gold was won for both the men and the women. So that was a really full circle experience for the wonderful Cheryl Pounder, who I work with. She was part of that O2 gold medal winning team. And then from there, we went to Boise, Idaho, which
Of course.
can't say was ever on my places to go bucket list, but it was a really cute town. So I flew from there straight to Toronto to then call that Sens game. So it's been a whirlwind of travel. I'm still I got, 3 or 4 outfits I'm still working through here for the last 8 or 9 days. So I got some serious laundry to do. And I'm back here in Ottawa, part of a Hockey Canada panel here today, hosting a panel. So it's been nonstop, but it's been fun.
So Kenzie, I remember when I did my first NHL game, I was nervous. I listened to your call. I thought you did a great job. Were you nervous at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. I think, going into a situation like that where you want to be perfect, because anything less and who knows what can come from the fallout of something like that. So I felt an immense responsibility to have as close as I can to a perfect game. And that did not happen. That never happens, as we all know. In anything, it's never going to be perfect. So never strive for that. But I felt an immense pressure to make it as perfect as I can. But also when the red light goes on or when the show starts, it's fun. And it's so, it's just such a rhythm for me. And Noodles is such a great guy, and it's so fun. I think because Josh Norris scored 40 seconds into the game, it was such a reality check of, oh yeah, I've done this 1,000 times. Nothing's different. Just maybe I'm not saying what he said today. I'm saying Brady Tkachuk, that the game's the different. The show's the game's not different. The show is not different. And a little piece of me just at times couldn't believe that, I was calling a Sens game, which is the team I grew up cheering for. So it's been full circle.
And I know you played Lady Sens, you played at Mount Allison, and for people that have never done a game, there's nothing like it. Playing's the best, obviously, as we all know that, but being able to I think that is the most fun out of all the television, radio jobs, of just being there and calling live sports, because you're a part of it. And I just think it's such, you got to rush doing it.
Well, that's what I love about it is people ask me that all the time, because it's quite rare for a former player. Not that I ever made the national team, but it is quite rare for a former player to jump into the role of play-by-play as opposed to maybe color commentary or hosting and reporting, which I also do as well. But I think that's why I love it and why I have fallen in love with it, because you're with the action, you're along for the ride, you're in it just like you were when you were playing. And that's why I think I love, that is why I know I love the position. And you think big picture on being a female in that space and how rare that is. And just because, I don't fit the traditional mold of what a play-by-play person is, that doesn't mean I'm bad. That just means I'm different. And I think different is good. I think we need to see difference in our space of hockey coverage. I think it's important that fans can see themselves in us, and maybe relate to the game a little bit more and want to be a fan of the game. So I think it's important to have diverse voices in the game. So the space of play-by-play, I haven't looked back since I've started.
Yeah.
And nor should you, because I will say, like, my daughter, who's never played hockey, but wanted to listen to you make the call in the game. So just everybody is anxious and excited to hear. And I thought you did a fantastic job. You probably had the best partner you could have in Noodles. One, he's in the booth with you, which makes it easier too, I think. But he just, everything he can roll with. He's just really good. And you mentioned it. My question is, did Josh Norris make your life easier by scoring early, or did he make it more complicated?
Nah, I appreciate Josh Norris. That really helped. It kind of brought me down to earth. You're in it. A quick goal like that was kind of, okay, here we go. We're off to the races. I think that really settled my nerves. So I'm grateful for that one, and a dominant game. I think for a lot of Sens fans, that'll be a game they'll remember. It's a significant game where you saw their A style of game. So I think to match my first call with one of their best, strongest performances is pretty cool.
Could you? I just know that you grew up in Ottawa. Well, you grew up in Stittsville, because we like to pump. We had Mike Kelly on from Stittsville this week. It's been a very good promo for Stittsville.
Stittsville week.
I keep getting pushed down the list of most important.
No, he's way down.
But I'm just curious if all that playing the Leafs and being in Toronto was the best thing you could have asked for, as opposed to, and I don't want to put down a team, but say you're calling Columbus in the middle of February, or it's just not the same hype. Did that make it easier to get that involved in it, because you grew up obviously in that environment of disliking the Leafs like we all do?
Yeah. I think I told the story earlier in the week, like that ingrained hatred, if you will, when you're a young kid growing up in Ottawa. When I had friends come through our front door, and whether they were teammates or friends from high school, you'd start talking hockey quite early. And one of the first things my father would ask is, "Oh, who do you cheer for?" And unfortunately, some of them would say, "Oh, I'm a Leafs fan." And the first thing my dad would say is, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." So he would always try and make some sort of joke and really showcase our family pride of being an Ottawa Senators family. And I couldn't have asked for a better first game, the Battle of Ontario. I mean, growing up, my demographic in particular, my age group, those 2000s to 2004 matchups in the playoffs, I think is what really bolstered this rivalry and the heat and the hatred. So I kind of had a front row seat as a kid to that rivalry. And I think it's funny as well to think that coming off of the rivalry series of Canada-USA, I was kind of jumping into yet another rivalry game. So the theme of the games I had been calling coming up to that was kind of just a rollover. So it made it pretty easy.
Kenzie, are you high tech or are you old school as far as prep goes for the game? Because I stole when I was doing color, I cheated and I stole Dean Brown's way, where I got to write everything down. I got to write the names down, write the lines. Then other guys and girls, they'll put it on the computer, but I can't do that. I technically need to write it down to know it. What are you? You old school or you new school?
Yeah, I think I'm a cross of that. I do type my notes. I color code my notes when I look at the statistics I put in there, but I'll always go in with pen and write in their points. That's always handwritten. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. I think of a world championship, for example, whenever I do a women's worlds, you see that team 7 times, and that sheet by the end of it is, you can't even read it. Like, I've had people over my shoulder saying, how are you reading that right now? You've got 4 different color of ink. You've got 3 different highlighter colors, and they're chaotic by the end of that world championship. So I'm a bit of both. As the game goes on, I write notes and I write over it, but the bulk of my information is done through a Word document. So I'm one of those people that travels with a printer, guys. That's where I'm at in my life. I have a little carry-on size printer that's color, and I can plug it in, and it's easy to put in a carry-on bag. So that's where I'm at in my life. I have a pencil case and a printer.
I used to travel with colored markers, by the way, because I had to write everything.
We call those crayons, Jason.
And a little pencil case.
Do you have any pre-game routine that you have to go through, or is there do you have to have, like, Chris Cuthbert always has to have a bottle of water, but he always spills it on everything? Is there anything that you do that you need to do, I guess?
No, I have yet to really develop a routine. If anything, when I'm in the booth with Cheryl Pounder, we're dancing, we're having fun, we're joking. So I keep it light. If anything, that's the kind of energy I like to have before we go on air is have some fun. And Noodles, I mean, he's as fun as he gets. So we had a good little time, a good joke, and before we got started. So I think that's just kind of the energy, if anything, I want to foster before going on air. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll check in a few years from now there, Brent, and we'll see where I'm at in terms of routines.
That's fair enough. Go ahead, Yorkie.
Well, no, I just wanted that. It wasn't something about the broadcast. And Kenzie and I were talking about this before she came on. We're in the green room, I guess we'll call it. Favorite. I know you're a Sens fan growing up. Why is Brian McGrattan your favorite player? Where does that come from?
I think it was the mohawk, the energy, the swagger, fighting. I mean, look, I think of what drew me to certain players on the Ottawa Senators. It was guys with funny attitude, fighters. I think of course, Chris Neil. I grew up a Chris Neil fan. Ray Emery. I had a Ray Emery T-shirt as well. As much as I admired Alfie, Spez, Heater, they were awesome. But what was catching my attention was, on the bikes after a workout, watching looking at the hair or saying something smart or an offside comment or I don't know, stuff like that. So out of the traditional norm, I think is what always struck my attention with someone like Brian McGrattan. Never met him, but I wore number 16 because of him. So those were always the kind of guys that I cheered for, I guess. And I think too, just the more you hear about a player's story and who they are, that continues to gravitate me towards who they are, and I want to root for them on the ice.
And Yorkie's going to get Brian McGrattan on the show soon.
Next week.
We've been working on this for like 3 years, it feels like. I know you got to run. I just appreciate you stopping by. We're pretty pumped, and we thought you did a hell of a job, and we just wanted to check in because you've come a long way since
I know
cable access, if you will, in the Maritimes, calling Junior A. Hell of a job by you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Kenzie. We'll talk to you later.
See you, Kenzie. Kenzie Lalonde, by the way. There'll be a parade in Stittsville, and I'll be on the side waving just like a regular person.
It's people have no idea. Like color is tough, which I did, but play by play is just a totally different beast because it's so easily to fuck up. Because you gotta, and even I'm always amazed. I did a lot of games with John Bartlett, and I'd say, how do you know? Like we're so far away, because basically you're watching, and you got to see the numbers, and that's why you see a lot of people will get names wrong. And the people will call it, but it's very difficult because you're up high, you're in the 400s, and the jerseys. It depends on the jerseys too of certain teams. A lot of the numbers look the same.
Well, you know what? We're going to continue that conversation. So I'm going to bring in Jamie Baker, who's done a million games. Himself. So might as well have the conversation instead of keeping him waiting. But I will say, covering like Bakes, welcome to the show.
Hi, gentlemen.
There you are. Hi, sir.
Hey, Bakes.
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm with you, Yorkie. The play-by-play hockey announcers are there's nothing like it in sports. It's so fast. Live changes. I don't know how they do it.
It's way harder than color. Like we come in between the whistles. Like you got to just say something that's kind of smart. Just don't screw up the name. And you're in and out. You're in and out in 20 seconds. That's the hardest part of the job, especially if you're working with a guy like Bob Cole. You got to be out. And Bob was awesome, by the way. I did one game with him, but he goes, Yorkie, you make sure you're out before that puck is dropped. but that's it. That's all we had to do. So yeah, I got a lot of respect for the people that do play-by-play.
Well, I watched the game. Kenzie did an amazing job. So that was great. And it is play-by-play are amazing. Color guys, it's a little tougher at ice level than up in the booth, but it's still a lot easier than play-by-play.
Well, yeah, ice level, I prefer to be up top because my style was when I used to do it was I like to see what happened, like two plays leading up that actually the important plays nobody ever talks about. It drives me crazy when they show the replay and they only show the pass and the goal because it doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
And that's kind of an American style.
I will say it's easier, like in Yorkie and Bakes will know this. Like you watch the Ottawa Senators every game, you know who they are on the ice. You don't need to see numbers, right?
No.
You can just but to go from one night of the New York Rangers to the next night of the San Jose Sharks to the next night of, it's amazing to me. Like I think Gord Miller is in a whole different level for me. He's just so good at calling everything, and especially when he does World Championships and World Juniors. Like there's so much prep that goes in for all you guys. It's a really, really
Bakes,
a tough skill.
I used to see Bakes all the time because they had Sportsnet because I was like their fifth guy. So I'd have to go do like a Columbus at San Jose that's being broadcast on a Saturday night that nobody's watching. And it's like I'm prepping for an exam. I haven't seen the San Jose Sharks play all year, so I got to learn all their names. I'm Bakes, how do you say this guy's name? And what is this? Anything special about this guy? And it was like going to school, like a crash course, doing all these games Sportsnet would send me on. Yeah, doing the same team all the time is way, way nicer, way more convenient.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was blessed in San Jose. Randy Hahn on TV is amazing. Dan Rosnowski, he's in the Hall of Fame, Hockey Hall of Fame.
He's good.
And he is they made it so easy, and they were different styles, but yeah. And you know what? Following a team, there's always stories carrying over from one game to another. For me, it was a little different playing Eastern Conference teams because, like you mentioned, Columbus. Like I wasn't following Columbus, or they'd be in the West, but like there could be Florida when they were not very good.
Yep.
I wasn't paying attention to Florida.
Right.
So we'd come in and you'd rely on the other announcers to get tidbits of information of what's going on. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into tonight's game. I know you just talked to the other night, did the Leaf game, but I apologize for making you work all the time. But I thank you for joining us. Let's get
not work when they're winning.
That's so true, right? It changes everything. Everybody's happier, right? Media people, teams happier, drivers of the cars are happy. Anyway,
Creature's way happier too, eh? Because he loves to be positive, but when it gets negative, it's such a long night.
It's hard.
The post game just sucks. It's just
negativity. Yeah.
Yeah. And I come from a different background too. Like I'm more like an infomercial. I worked for the team,
Yeah.
So
Right.
like it was kind of known. It was, like you can be objective and whatnot, but there's a lot more people that still love the team than hate the team. Like don't pay attention to what you see like on social media. That's like there's a few people that can be loud, but there's still a majority of people that they want to hear good things about the team. But that hasn't been easy in the last few years. So it gets to a point that it's like, oh, they're out of the playoffs and it's January. Like there's no way to spin the tail. Like there's nothing really to be positive about, when it's year 7 and in a rebuild, if you will.
Yeah. Hey, we'll build some momentum off that 6-2 loss instead of it being 7-1. Yeah, I get you. All right, let's get to the game tonight. Before we do that, I'd like to tell you about Charm Diamond Centers. Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program and unbeatable pricing policy. Check out a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mined diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with instant in-store financing on approved credit. For more information, go to Charm Diamond Centers. Chosen forever, Charm Diamond Centers.
You look at those pipes, eh? See, listen to that thing. Did you know that Wally, I've repeated this like every show now, was in the church? It was in the church choir growing up. He can sing.
No, don't entertain this.
Which begs the question, what happened?
and I also just learned today he played drums in the school marching band.
No,
like what's going on here?
It wasn't in the school band. I was an air cadet. I was in the military marching band.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah, that's why I was a lead drummer. But okay, can we just move on? The Sens will look to win 3 in a row tonight as they host the Philadelphia Flyers, who, by all accounts, are a struggling group. 6-8-2. They're struggling to score goals. They're not great in the goals against. Nothing really going well, except the penalty kill is pretty good. But let's talk about the Ottawa Senators as opposed to them. And before we do that, Claude Giroux had a couple of comments today that I thought we could build off of. He started by saying, I think we're starting to believe the way we're playing, we're going to be able to win some games. So when you believe in how you're playing, you maybe play with a little bit more confidence. And then he said, I think when you believe in what you're doing, there's no hesitation. You don't hesitate in what you're doing. And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. I mean, we could have won the last 2 or lost the last 2, but at the end of the day, it's about the process of us playing the right way. And if we do that, we're just going to be able to win more than we lose. This is a different group and the mindset has changed, I feel like, from the last 3-4 years.
Yes, it's changed. So I will put a stamp on it. It doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing because the NHL is a really tough league. There's a lot of parity and a lot of good teams. And you don't go automatic. There's not a switch that says, oh, we had a losing culture and now we have a winning culture. As Claude Giroux said, this is a process. Travis Green has said it's a process. It's about, even for the fan base, enjoy the means to the end because the end will take care of itself. But they came in they said they had a different mindset from the outset, from the beginning of training camp. It was the training camp was different. It was more physical. It's more focused than it's been. And you've got players that, they went through all the trials and tribulations last year. And then they had Jacques Martin preaching to them about here's how you win in the league. And now they have another coach preaching the same thing. And they're sick and tired. The core is sick and tired of losing. And they're changing the way they're playing. They've played 5 really good games in their last 7 games. They're 4-3, but they played 5 really good games where I've seen changes across the board. And I don't know, Yorkie, the eye test is the eye test.
Yeah.
I played with Creech the other night. I just was like, simplify the game, Creech. Just watch the Sens, because it was one of my keys, outnumber. And for 5 minutes, I was just like, oh, let's just count. We're just going to play the counting game. And we counted one Toronto guy, 2 Ottawa, 2 Toronto guys, 3 Ottawa. And it was happening all over the ice. And it was like, but the thing is, it's really hard to do. You have to play fast. You have to have all 5 guys connected, playing together. You got to be good away from the puck. Like, it's really hard to do. But when you're doing it right, you just completely smother another team. And you go back to the Ranger game. They were good for 55 minutes against Vegas. They shut out Seattle. They dominated St. Louis. They go in and beat Boston, and then they just dominated Toronto. Toronto got nothing that game. So
it was crazy. Eh? Like, Bakes. So I was talking about this yesterday, and I know you watched the game, and there was one particular play that really stood out to me in the third period. I talked about it yesterday. Drake Batherson's taken a lot of shit for.
I know which play you're talking about too.
The plus minus and all that stuff. Noodles brought it up in the broadcast. How many times in the past would Ottawa's wingers, when they're pinned in and they let the other team's D sneak in and they would score, they never collapsed. Mm-hmm. So last game, this is the play I'm talking about. Batherson comes down real low, seals that side. Toronto tries to pass the puck out. Batherson's in great defensive position and just calmly, right place, takes the puck and then doesn't shoot it away. Comes around the net. Talk about a 200-foot game, and this is what Travis, this is what Jacques, as you mentioned, have been preaching to this group. If you guys play good defensive hockey, you'll get chances. And then from that great, whatever you want to call it, positioning, structure, whatever the buzzword is, he gets it, breaks the puck out, makes a great pass, and gets a scoring chance. I'm like,
5 seconds later, great scoring chance.
And Bakes, I don't know about you, and that kind of said, okay, this is the difference between how they're playing this year and how they weren't playing last year.
There's another, just staying on Batherson, on Stützle's goal, the Sens lost the faceoff. The faceoff was to the left of their goalie, Stollards. Mm-hmm. And Toronto won it clean. Batherson was in front of the net. He just took off. And he went in, was disruptive on set, allowing Toronto to they didn't get a reverse. They didn't get anything. Yeah, and then it was a broken play that the possession went into the Sens' hands. There's a shot that gets kind of blocked. It goes up to Zub, who moves it to Batherson, who's now on the complete other side of the ice. And then he feeds Stützle in the slot, who scores. But it all started with hard work off the faceoff a year ago. I think he works hard there. I think he's tracking, but I don't think he's there as fast as he was this game. Like, I don't think he breaks that play up a year ago. I think he's maybe 2 feet away, allowing Toronto that extra half second, which is everything, to make it.
You used a word there that I love, disrupt. And I just go back to how they used to play. And it's not like they weren't working hard, but they'd go in on the forecheck. And how many times in the years past were the sticks in the air and they wanted to hit a guy, but they would never disrupt. And I'm just seeing, I haven't seen any practice this year, Wally. I know you've been there, but I'm just thinking the assistant coaches in the video, they're doing a great job of their sticks around the ice. Like, you watch a guy like Amadio. I mean, how many times does Amadio break up plays? And it's not from hitting, it's from getting in there and having a great stick. Like, they're doing that far more often this year. Great positioning, great jump to get there, but there's a plan. And you can just see guys are just playing the right way now.
Yeah.
Linus Ullmark will make his 3rd straight start in goal as he takes on the Philadelphia Flyers. He's got great numbers against the Flyers, if you will. 6-2-1 lifetime with a .923 save percentage. I think he's gone over 75 minutes without allowing a goal. Is he right where we want him to be at the moment? And I mean that as a few games ago, we weren't sure where his game was at. Is everything all good and hunky-dory now with Linus Ullmark?
Well, he said after last game, he doesn't know where his game is. So.
I know. And I don't know if he's just toying with people at this point.
I mean, I think he's very humble and he's very realistic. And he's very competitive. He understands that he wasn't playing as well as he could have. Now, that said, it's a new team, new system, a lot of new things going on. Then he's tweaked something. So something's bugging him that he missed some games. So it kind of disrupts his, not to overuse the word, but it is what it is. It's like, now you were starting to settle in a little bit. Now that stops, and, now you got to start over again. And I think he realizes 2 good games it's very positive. It's trending in the right direction, but it only takes one game where you're shaky or let in a couple of soft ones. You're like, okay, give him 4 or 5 good games. And I think he'd be much more comfortable in saying he's really happy with his game. But he said it after last game, like, we haven't had success. Like, it's too early. We're not there. And, here's a guy, he goes, you have to do it consistently, and you do it when other teams are really prepared for you, that you're a really good team. Like, he's 2 years removed from the best regular season in NHL history. Yeah. Like, if you want to know what there's guys they brought in this year that have won Stanley Cups, but don't underestimate. I know they lost in the first round to Florida, but what Boston did was truly amazing 2 seasons ago in the regular season. And you talk about the amount of consistency that they had to have. So he knows what that takes. So I think he talks about that. So do I think he's in the right place? I think he is, considering what he's been through. But I think what's more important is what he thinks. And I think he's trending to where he wants to be, but needs a couple more games.
I think the messaging these guys are getting from a group, and they've said it from day one, like, how many guys do we have on the show? You would say, so is a good start important? What do you guys' record need to be? And to a man, it was almost like they were told what to say. We're just going to go in and work on the first day of training camp, and then we're going to take the next day. And it's a great attitude. Like, I know it's boring. I know it's cliche, Bakes, but you said it earlier. It's a process. And if you get ahead of yourself, just worry about the present, the shift, the period, however you want to do it. But I agree. Like, he's had 2 games. It's great. But he knows this league's about doing it for 82 games. You're going to have some shit games, but it's about having a lot more better ones and very few shitty ones. So I agree. I think he's found it, but you never know in this league. This is a hard league, and people forget the other team wants to win just as bad. Yeah, and that's what makes it such a great league to watch.
Claude Giroux will face his former team again. Interesting enough, this will be the 7th time he has played the Philadelphia Flyers. He has a point in all 6 games that he has faced them. 9 points overall. Gentlemen, does Claude Giroux pick up a point in game number 7 against his former team?
Go, Yorkie. You can go first.
I think so. I just think this team, and watch them throw up an egg tonight. I think they're on the right track, and Giroux's a big part of that. Like, this guy could have a lot more points than he actually has right now. He's been stymied a lot of times, especially on the power play, where he's had great looks, where he's got the goal. He's been coming up really big saves on him. So he's playing some real good hockey right now. It's his old team. He's crafty. He's the old red beard there. I think he might get a couple points tonight.
That's what I was going to say. That line, I really like the line, with the move they've made, like Stützle on the line.
Yeah.
Matherson. They all play with Norris playing with Brady and Ridley. They all play north-south. These guys, Stützle, Timmy with Claude and Drake, these guys, there's an east-west element to their game. Like, they'll all hold on to the puck an extra second to make a move. They have delay plays, things like that. And so it's allowing whoever has the puck allows the other 2 to read where the open space is. And they all have tremendous hockey sense and on ice awareness. So that line looked really good. Like, Timmy looked amazing the other night, but that whole line was clicking. So you're always motivated when you play in one of your old teams. He'll get a point, probably 2 tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Bakes, we've mentioned Batherson a couple times right now. What's your opinion on him so far this year?
I think he's playing great hockey.
Yeah.
I think he's changed his mentality. I saw signs of it last year. a couple months, after Jock had been coaching for a month or two, but it's hard to make transitions to your game when you play it a certain way for so long, but I'm watching him. What I look for is when he's in the offensive zone and there's a change of possession. Let's say there's a shot and there's a rebound goes to the corner and it looks like the opposing team's going to get possession. How does he react? How quickly does he react defensively? Is he pausing, hoping that maybe his line mate's going to go in and win a 50-50 battle when he's outnumbered? Or is he reacting responsibly and getting in good defensive posture, which that's what I'm seeing. And I'm watching him back check, and he's back checking a hell of a lot faster than I've seen him on a regular, consistent basis in the past. And offensively, he can already bring it. But like you mentioned, when you walk through that play he did the other night, his defense is also now feeding his offense. He's realizing you come underneath, you're getting way more speed through the neutral zone. It backs off the other team. So there's a whole nother element to your offense from playing good defense and creating turnovers just inside your own blue line, which happen when you back check.
Yeah, I agree. I just find he's so strong on the puck and in the O zone too. Like when he gets it, when you see certain players, it just looks like they got that stick and it's going to be like he protects it. He seems like he is 6. What is he? Well, he's 6'2", maybe 6'3", but he seems like he really uses that reach extremely well to keep pucks away. Even that goal, the goal he had the other night, guys, in tight around the net, like he makes that look really easy. But it's like, how hard is that to pull off in that tight of a space?
Oh my God.
That's
most
unreal.
Most guys rush it. It's the hardest thing to do is wait that extra split second or 1 second to complete the move.
Oh yeah, I'd throw that right in the pillows every time. I wouldn't. You just panic when you're around the net.
I had my coach in the minors. My first year pro was Robbie Fatorik, and he would do this shit all the time. He'd be like, "Don't stop fucking shooting so fast. You got to hold it on for an extra second." So like in practice, he'd like make us hold it on. He goes, "I'd rather you get checked and not get the shot off than rush your shot. Because I know that in time you'll figure it out. But if you're always rushing your shot, your chances of scoring go down." And he taught that like all the time. He used to give us shit all the time.
Was he wearing the sweaters back then?
Like we know. We're figuring it out.
Bakes, was that pre or post? Remember he went through that sweater phase, Fatorik? He was like the only coach wearing the big sweater on the bench.
That was post. Yeah.
That was post. Okay.
Yeah.
I did during the 04-05 lockout, went to Albany and he was coaching Albany. Zach Parisi was there. I had to do a story on him and Aaron Voros or whatever, but he comes in after. He's still wearing his skates. And I looked down and they look like they were Microns from 1981. And he's like, "These are the same skates. I just keep getting them fixed. They're like slippers to him." He wears them all the time. And I was curious if you had noticed that he always had like the same pair of skates on.
He did when we were there. He always had the same skates.
Yeah.
We played 3-on-3. He taught me. I mean, I learned so much in that year with him. He's one of the reasons I made the NHL. He taught me. Yeah, I was like, he played 3-on-3 at the end of every practice, and he'd like poke you in the back of the knee, grab your jersey, like all stuff you can't do nowadays. But he taught you all these little tricks, and he'd be like, "Fuck off!" Like you get pissed off, right? And you couldn't do anything to him. He had no equipment on. So it's not like you can do anything to him. I think he had these skinny little coach shin pads or something. But he was so crafty. And then he taught me how to play wing. I was a left-handed shooting centerman. He goes, "Do you want a 1 in 12 chance to make it, or to make a team, or a 1 in 4 chance?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "So it's simple. Do you want 1 in 12 or 1 in 4?" I'm like, "Well, 1 in 12 is better odds." He goes, "Well, I'm going to teach you how to play wing." And when I got called up to Quebec, I was playing right wing. So I was a right winger for my first couple of months in the NHL until I shifted over. But that's what got me there. And I would never have learned how to play it properly, especially in the defensive zone, without him.
It's amazing, Biggs, when you look back at time in the minors of people that were influential and things they said. Yeah. I remember, you remember a guy named Joe Patterson? Played a little bit with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Great guy. Anyways, he's the defense coach in Adirondack. and I think I'm having a pretty good year. He comes over to me, he goes, "Hey, Yorkie, you're playing pretty good, eh? You think you're playing pretty good?" And I'm like, yeah. He goes, "You want to know something? Good doesn't get you anywhere." He goes, "You got to be great." He goes, "You got to be great every game. Push yourself." And I'm like, yeah, he's right. Like, I'm not going to go anywhere if I keep doing this, but it's just, it's crazy because anytime you talk to a guy that's made it, there's always somebody that's done something when you're just trying to break through, right?
100%.
So you played on that team that one year with Claude Julien. Ron Tugnut played 6 games apparently. Did you keep in touch with Claude?
Claude Julien?
Yeah.
Just when I saw him, broadcasting and that when he was coaching, we'd always, he was great. He was really good. I can't say that I thought he was going to be the coach that he was, but he was a great leader. He was the union rep for our team, and he played a long time in the minors too. So he was a student at the game, and he was great with young guys. He was really good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, finish your thought there, Wally.
Oh, it's just you played with so many just interesting guys. But you also had Jacques Martin as a coach in Quebec City. He was an assistant coach. Mm-hmm. Does he remember you being a player?
Well, we do. I was a guest at his hockey camp a couple of times, but we're both from St. Lawrence University, right? So,
yes.
So we had that bond. Yeah, we had that instant bond of the same alma mater. So yeah, he was aware. That doesn't mean he liked me as a player. He was aware of me as a player.
You're in his wheelhouse. You're a defensive player.
Yeah, I was conscientious defensively. I had to be. I didn't have a choice with my hands and shot.
Jacques would hit everybody up for that hockey school, up in Hawkesbury and Rigaud. Yeah. He'd get you, and he used to sit up in the corner, up in Rigaud in the booth, and he would sit up there. And he'd bring you in. It was pitcher day, and Jacques would come down, and you'd do like a whatever there was. If there were 200 kids there, you did 200 pitchers, and you'd go down and get in the pose. Next kid would come in, he'd shuffle them through, and you'd go through these pitchers in 15 minutes. But oh my God, that's hilarious that he hit you up to do that. Hey, was Jacques when you had Jacques in Quebec? Did he have the duster then? Was he Jacques with the mustache?
I can't remember.
He had a great mustache for a while. Yeah. He kind of looked like Inspector Clouseau a little bit from the Pink Panther.
That's funny.
Moving back to the Philadelphia Flyer game, I don't know about you guys. I'm a little shocked that they're going to go to Ivan Fedotov in goal, who's got a 1-3 record, an .851 save percentage, and instead of going, I think Sam Ersson has been really, really good of late, and 5-2-2 on the season or something. Do you want to face an Ottawa Senator team that seems to be rolling at the moment to put in, well, he is 6'7", maybe he just has to stand there, but do you want a goalie that's struggling to face a pretty good team at the moment?
From whose standpoint? Are we talking?
If you're Torch, yeah.
I mean, I don't think, to be fair, I don't think the Sens care who's in net.
No, I don't know why, unless Ersson is hurt. Which I don't know why you're going to Fedotov, but maybe that's why.
It could be part of the plan. They have plans planned out like for the season. I know Ersson's been playing better, but it's not like he's going to play every single game. And sometimes when goalies go in and they've struggled a bit, maybe. Yeah, I haven't been watching the Flyers that much, so
yeah.
Like I haven't.
He's injured. My apologies.
Fedotov's been in. Like I don't know. Maybe the team played like crap. And if you don't play well in front of a goalie and he doesn't have a good record, like part of you, it's like when a goalie gets injured and you have your backup in and he's going to be playing a string of games. Like right. you focus on not giving up as many chances. Like everybody hunkers down a little bit more. That could be the case for Philly tonight. So don't underestimate their ability to maybe play a tighter defensive game in front of him. Sure. So that could also be part of the motivation.
Sam Ersson is out with a not long-term injury. So my apologies. Finally, the captain, Brady Tkachuk, against the Philadelphia Flyers, has points in his last 6 straight games. 17 points overall in 14 career games against the Flyers. I think he's now starting to find that game, and people are like, well, he's got to fight more, and I just like the way he's been playing, minus all the penalties he used to take. Like, I think he's actually matured into that game. But you two gentlemen who have played the game, tell me.
Go ahead, Biggs.
It was a privilege to watch some great players in San Jose. And one of them was Joe Thornton. And as you guys know, like, Joe was amazing. One of the best passers of the generation. And he had a propensity to slow the game down, which didn't always benefit him in the playoffs. And there was, after 1 year, he wanted to change his game. He wanted a better all-around game that would be more suited down the stretch and in the playoffs. So at the start of the season, he went out to change the way he played. Mindset. Changed his mindset. In the first half of the season, he played really good hockey, two-way hockey. There's another guy that did the same thing. If you go look at his statistics, and he's an Ottawa native, and his name is Steve Yzerman. And you just go look at when his regular season point totals drop and the amount of games he plays in the playoffs increases. And it's simultaneous. It's exact same time. And I watched Thornton do it. And while he was going through the process, as we've talked about, just as the Sens are as a team, his offense was compromised a little bit. But the second half of the year, he was a beast. And he was better defensively. And he was like, it all came together. And I think that's what, that's what Brady's doing, is he's becoming a better all-around hockey player. And the physical part's always going to be there. He doesn't have to go intimidate teams with your team speed and the way you smother them defensively. He doesn't have to fight to hopefully change the energy of a game. And what I'm seeing with what we talked about with Drake, I'm seeing it I'm seeing the same thing with Brady, and he's talked about it. His brother knows what it takes, and there's a transition. And I would be very pleased with the trajectory that he's on right now, as far as improving his overall two-way game and still being an offensive threat as often as he is.
So what you're saying is the Sens are going to win the cup. Okay.
I have a good feeling they're going to make the playoffs if they stay healthy.
Yeah.
But
it does look good. Absolutely. Okay. So Biggs, we're going to have you stick around because we're going to now make our choice for who's going to win tonight. Okay. So you're in the group. Yorkie, lead us off.
Well, I'm going to take Ottawa. Oh,
no, Yorkie. You got one job.
He said to lead us off. He didn't say BEI. Okay, well, here we go. Thanks to our good friends at BEI. Once again, been with us from day one. If you want to get some equipment rentals, aggregate or topsoil sales, custom crushing and screening, hot mix paving, BEI can help you with all of those things. So you can give them a call at 613-432-1120. Or reach them on the web at bonisherexcavating.com. When you're planning your next project, consider BEI for all your aggregate supplies and needs. BEI, as always, is helping to shape the Ottawa Valley.
And remember to slow down in construction zone.
There you go. That's right.
And of course, this show presented to you by Bet365, proud partner of Coming In Hot. Open an account today with Bet365. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION, must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly and download the app today. Okay. Bakes is our guest, so he gets to go first. Is it an Ottawa or is it a Philadelphia victory for you, sir?
Olmark made his post-game interview after the Toronto game was really good. And one of his comments was, it feels really good after a game when you know you played the right way and you were detailed and you followed through. And he even mentioned the pre-scout, like guys were paying attention during the pre-scout. And he goes, it's a really good feeling. And that's how we felt. Those guys, they're getting that feeling of what it's like to play well. They've tasted it the last 2 games after not having it for 2 games. They want to taste it again. They like it. They like watching what's happening in the standings. Senators will win by a couple of goals at least, but I don't think they give up a whole much. I'd be surprised if Philly scores more than 2 goals tonight.
Yeah. And this is a game you got to have if you're going to say you're taking the next step. You got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And right now you're at home. You've just beat 2 division rivals, and now you have a chance to win 3 in a row and start making hay right now, eh, Bake? So these are the points, and you sound like a broken record. Everybody knows this. The points right now are so important because you bank them, and you bank them right now because it's going to get tougher. The league's going to get tighter. It's going to get more competitive. Right now you have a team that's not playing well, so you got to step on their throats. Make sure your special teams are good. And I'm expecting Elmark to be really good again. He just seems like he's found it. So I see no reason why the Ottawa Senators don't win this game. I
concur with you, Yorkie, and I will take the parlay, which is Ottawa to win, Brady Tkachuk to score a goal, and Tim Stützle 1+ assists. So yeah, I'll take the parlay. I think that's an easy parlay to me, but watch as Big said,
it's easier, Wally.
Yeah,
easier than other ones.
They watch them just get pumped. Yeah, all of a sudden. Yeah, but I will take an Ottawa. This has to be an Ottawa victory, doesn't it? Like,
well, it has to be. It has to be.
We said that about Buffalo. You were supposed to go into Buffalo. That didn't happen. So.
If this Bakes, you're not doing the post-game show tonight, are you?
No, I'm not doing the pre-post.
Okay, because if they don't win this game, I wouldn't want to be doing that show.
Which one did I do? I did the Islander game. So,
right. Again,
I thought they played okay. I didn't think they were horrible. And I thought the Islanders played a perfect road game, to be honest. So,
all right. We'll see how this plays out. Jamie, I always appreciate you stopping by. Your insight in the game. You might be the best analyst there is in the city at the moment. So,
not even close. Don't want that stigma. Then there's only one way to go, Wally. Down.
That's not true. You're extremely good at what you do. It's very entertaining to listen to you. So,
love your podcast, boys. Don't ever change.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Yeah,
thanks. Jamie Baker, one of the original Ottawa Senators, by the way.
Yeah, and
if
like
those
we said,
don't remember,
he's such a good guy. He's just like you said. Like I know he did some work with your son, did some video and stuff with your son before. Yeah. He's extremely intelligent the way he sees the game. He's got a great mind for the game.
He can break it down because he's a forward and defensive and somewhat like my kid is. I asked him, I just asked him. I said, "Would you take a look at some video?"
Yeah.
And he broke like 3 pages of stuff, and he's extremely detailed and really smart.
And you know why? Because here's the thing. Yeah, in the NHL he was defensive minded, but before he got to the NHL, he was a hell of an offensive player. And that's the thing. That's why really intelligent hockey players are smart enough to know how to adapt and change. Same thing with Shawn Van Allen, defensive centerman. Led the American League in scoring before he made the NHL because Vanner was smart enough to realize got to make some changes here if I want to be an NHL player. And both Vanner and Bakes had awesome careers.
He won an IHL championship. I don't know if I've actually talked to him about that with Chicago, the Wolves.
Oh, the Wolves.
Wendell Young was with the goalie on the team.
Wendell Young. There's a blast from the past.
Denny VL was on that team. Steve Martins was on that team.
he had Pumbaa and Denny the Dancing Bear. All kinds of.
You're supposed to get Denny VL on the show.
You want Denny? Denny will come on the show.
Okay, well,
Denny would be great. Denny has got the best laugh in hockey. We'll get Denny on the show and we'll get the belly laugh going. We had the alumni in town. I am trying to remember, was it for Reds or Nealer, one of those nights? Anyhow, Denny was in the box and he was laughing the entire game. He's just got a great laugh. Great guy. Denny and I go a long ways back, Wally. I had him my first year when I had that year with Bill LaForge and Hamilton. Denny was my ride to the rink every day and my defense partner. Then I get to Detroit's camp and I go to the minors, and Detroit trades for Denny. Now Denny's my defense partner in the minors in Adirondack. So Denny and I are partners again.
Really?
And then time goes by. I go to Anaheim. Actually, there's a brawl that happens on the ice. Denny's, I don't know what he's doing, but he's like going after Kriya. So we have to jump in. I'm holding Denny by the leg. Somebody else has got him by the waist, and as a total gong show. A couple years later, Denny shows up with the Ottawa Senators, and we're defense partners a little bit again. But then he ended up playing forward. Jacques put him up on the left wing. But yeah, I've had 3 different stints with Denny, and we won a Calder Cup together in Adirondack in 1992, which was a lot of fun.
Very good. Okay. So, last thing before I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, because I don't know how good your French is. Pierre Dorian posted on Twitter, because he's now working for BPM Sports in Montreal, saying that he had a chance to hire Patrick Waugh, Jacques Martin, or DJ Smith in 2019 and chose DJ Smith.
Really?
Yes. But he didn't really give any details as to why basically he just made the choice. So I this one's interesting to me. I'm like, I believe that sounds like a money thing to me, as it usually was with the coaches that got hired here for a stretch.
Yeah, that was a money thing.
But that's interesting to just drop that one.
How'd you find this? What are you sleuthing around everywhere? You're like checking out all the little how did this drop into your feed?
Listen, I'm a man of the people. I'm just trying to find stuff.
No,
anyway,
I wouldn't go that far. You're a sleuth. You're always looking around. You're always recording. Wally Vision is watching. You're at practice. Disrupting.
I didn't go today. I felt like crap. So anyway, that's something that seems interesting to me, that it's never really come out. And I don't know that people in Ottawa really want to know that they had a chance to hire Patrick Waugh and chose DJ Smith.
Yeah, you had to bring that up, eh? Yeah. Just when people are happy, Ottawa's won a couple of games in a row. Stop being negative. You're just so negative.
I didn't. He brought it up. He posted it himself from his car.
But you didn't have to say it on this show. Like, we're happy today. Like we had Bakes on. We had Kenzie did her first Sens game. It was great. And you're just having to poo-poo it with this nonsense.
That's not okay. All right, never mind. Before finally, meant to bring this up early in the show. Kevin Clifford is the winner of the bobblehead. So we'll get in touch with him and get that sent out. We'll do it again. We do have a Fanatics jersey. I am going to send it out and likely get Shane Pinto's name put on it. And we're going to do a draw for that as well. I'll see if I can get it signed by him. But yes, that'll be coming up soon when I can get organized.
All right. I got to get in the car. I got to drive to Kingston.
Enjoy your weekend.
Gotta go to draft night. In and out. Draft tonight, 3 games tomorrow, and I'll be back tomorrow. Okay.
No ejections in this one. That's okay.
No. It'll be some good, clean hockey. Good folks. Good folks in Kingston. Not that there's not good folks in Halifax, but Halifax was a little crazy.
All right. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks, everybody. It's been a week, so we appreciate everybody stopping by, and we will see you on Monday.
Yeah. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.